in, let's see, like 2008, 2007-ish, I started really getting into the show Ancient Aliens, right? And a lot of it was blowing my mind. I really never knew half of these places existed. The Great Pyramids always caught my attention as a young kid. I was always fascinated by what are we missing here? Like, how come they can do that? And the explanation didn't seem very plausible as an 8-year-old. So it always stuck with me. And there seemed to be something much more amazing going on than just like a tomb or a temple for some pharaoh that wasn't even named. They never claimed who wanted to build the Great Pyramid. Why would a pharaoh not put his name or her? Why would they not claim the temple that they created? Oh, but then there was, hundreds of years in between. The story was just crazy. Doesn't make sense. I don't even understand how they could put that in a history book when, it's incomplete. But regardless, so Ancient Aliens, really brought a lot of things to my attention. I didn't know anything about Nazca lines and, half of the temples in Mexico and South America. They got into, pyramids in Russia and China. It was like, okay, there's clearly something we're missing here. And for a while I bought the explanation of, that these aliens have been coming and going. Nowadays I kind of laugh at that stuff, but I do have to give that show credit for sparking, something really deep inside of, I would assume, a lot of people, because it's showing such amazing things. And then that started me on trying to understand Tesla, Nikola Tesla. I tried to, they brought up Da Vinci a lot, and that always caught my attention. I thought, whatever mind this person has is just insanely amazing. So those things really started sparking my attention. So I have to give that show a lot of credit for, I would assume it did that to a lot of people. And I would assume a lot of people are still buying the ancient alien theory. But that show leaves out a lot. And it did not show you so many things that, independent research, being autodidactic, will show you. What I came to find out of doing my own research is it's all over the world. There's temples everywhere, including, my home territory. I live in Illinois, and I've been to the Cahokia Mounds. I've been to the mounds right over the Wisconsin border, and I've scoped out all the areas, and clearly something more fantastical is going on. And I don't even think, ancient alien theory gives it justice at all. Because, again, then that means it's something that was coming and going. And I think they've always been here. But that's just me. But, or at least from as long as we've been here. I don't, but regardless. So So that show led me to Tesla, led me to Da Vinci, hence my name of the channel. Those guys really sparked something in me. Started getting into Tesla's 369 and the secrets and keys of the universe, frequency, vibration, energy, and it's all there if you go deep enough to it. And then I really started feeling for Tesla and feeling like, wow, this guy died alone with just a bunch of pigeons. He didn't even want to be around people. But for him to say, say these things, where does he get this information from? It kept popping up. He said it came from him, or came from the ether, and it's always been there. I would agree with that. How did he tap into the ether? I don't know. I think these guys are taught differently from birth. The wealthy or elite class, they have a whole different set of science and history, and then they teach us a very weak version of it, if you ask me. But going back to Tesla, do I think he was the only one that knew free energy? No, there's no possible way. He could have been as much of a shill, or whatever you want to call it, a plant, as Elon Musk nowadays. People don't believe Elon Musk is exactly what he says he is. I would say Tesla's probably the same. Nikola Tesla's just the equivalent of Elon Musk nowadays. It's my opinion. I still thank Nikola Tesla for saying that a key to the universe is the 369, and when you understand the significance of it, you can unlock mysteries of the universe. And you see a lot of these quotes from some of these elite elite class groups, and they're telling us something. I can get into JFK and what he said, but do I think these are good people? I don't know. I doubt it. Do I even think they're people? I don't know. I doubt it. But I think there's two classes here with us right now, at least. There's others in the higher up you go, but as far as around us, there's people that talk about the I forget what they call it, the player that has no, it's like an artificial player. I forget what NPCs, I think that's what they call them. That's probably somewhat accurate, but more or less I think we're dealing with two groups here. I think we have humans, which I don't know what they are, and man and woman, and then that would be us, because men and women wouldn't do this to each other, but that's a whole other thing. Going back to Ancient Aliens, and why I wanted to make this video is because they got into a lot of DNA manipulation into Ancient Aliens, and what the Egyptians and Sumerians were going with, and that's very fascinating. But doing your own research and getting into subjects like nanotechnology, black goo, what we know of DNA. You know, when I first heard it being called the signature of God, that really stuck with me also, because I wanted to know what they meant by that. And you know, it's intelligence, intelligent design. That's what they're trying to say. Whether that be the signature of the Almighty Creator and the top dog, which is interesting they say that because it's God backwards. But anyways, I don't know. I don't know if that's, you know, when you get into the creation story in the Bible, there seems to be two creations going on there, and I've seen a lot of people pick that apart. And I do subscribe to that because it's clearly two separate creations. You have being created in the image of God is one, and then out of the dirt, the breath through the nostrils to create another being. So it's not, you know, that's not Adam and Eve being created. That's a version of a creation, and then another version of a creation. I'm not saying one was Adam and one was Eve. No, Adam and Eve seem to be in one side of the creation, and then a whole other creation happens, you know, a couple sentences later or a couple pages later, whatever, within Genesis. And then you get into Genesis and what that name is trying to say, and you know, is it the genetics of Isis? Is that where you get Genesis? Santos, I'm pretty sure Santos Bonacci's the first one I ever heard say that, if I remember correctly, that Genesis is genetics of Isis. And you know, that only makes sense to a certain extent, because you know, it seems to all be Egyptian mythology running around here, you know, especially in the United States, especially in Illinois. They call it Little Egypt. I've seen it. I've seen all the symbology around here. I've been to Little Egypt, southern Illinois, again, where you have Cahokia mounds and things like that, and it's you know, why would they call it Little Egypt? There's reports of it from the early 1800s, you know, before things really started getting built up, and you know, I would assume they called it Little Egypt because they saw pyramids all around Illinois and Wisconsin and St. Louis, and you know, right where they had the World's Fair in St. Louis, the Cahokia Mounds are only so many miles away. I saw them both within an hour of each other. Then you have the Arch right there too. So like, you know, when I started realizing that these layouts and golf courses and, you know, churches, and stadiums are very much running identical across at least the United States, probably across the world, you know, that really started, like, it was getting pretty obvious that, you know, we're walking around something that's been anciently designed here, and it's like ruins across the world. When you can go right over the border into Wisconsin and basically walk around ruins from an ancient culture, and there's very little information about it, you know, and nobody even goes to these places, so like, I didn't know about it until my 30s. It's amazing. It's amazing to me. But getting back to the genetics, I started learning that, and this was about 5 4 or 5 years ago through guys like Santos, through guys like Bill Donahue, which I thought he's great. Channels like Sun Becomes the Sea. It's all one word. Sun Becomes the Sea. Great channel. These guys were pointing out that there's highly advanced quantum physics coming out of the Bible, and I've personally learned more about quantum physics through teachings of the Bible than any scientist or quantum physics books would ever teach me. I forget his name. I think they call him the godfather of quantum physics. Said, and I quote, that if you want to understand quantum physics, read Genesis. And that blew my mind. I was like, okay, why would a scientist be, advocating for, religious text, and you'll learn something scientific about it? That really stuck with me also. But guys like Bill Donahue, not Phil Donahue, not the guy that was with Oprah, but Bill Donahue, check him out. Look him up on YouTube. He's probably in his 60s nowadays. He was doing videos for quite some time, 2008 to about 2016, 17. But then kind of abruptly stopped. So I don't know what's going on with him nowadays. But, he was getting into particle messengers, light refractions, what the pineal gland can do. But he was showing all that through the Bible, and it's amazing. It's truly amazing, and that's the thing, is like you can learn it through the Bible, so it's in there. I can't learn how to run a triangle offense in basketball by reading the Bible, so it's not in there. But I can learn quantum masses and waves of light through the Bible, so it's there. But with staying on that subject, I'll go back to DNA at some point. But I came across a show that I've been wanting to watch for the last couple of years. I think it came out in 2020 or 2019. It's called Raised by Wolves. And the whole premise is that they decoded quantum physics, highly advanced quantum physics, through the Bible, which led them to have extreme technology. And if anybody's watched that show, wow. And again, it's, that's Ridley Scott, the guy that brought you Aliens, Alien, Prometheus, Exodus, Blade Runner. He loves his androids. But, and that shows you something too. It's the same guy that brought you Alien, all about artificial intelligence and, other beings. Basically, it's all about genetics and artificial intelligence. So it's Prometheus, all about genetics and artificial intelligence. And if you go deep into the lore of Alien, you'll understand that it's all artificial intelligence. It's not alien, it's artificial intelligence. And Ridley Scott will state that clearly nowadays. I don't know if that was the original intent, but there's always been androids in the Alien franchise. It's actually more about androids than any being from another planet. But getting into that, the same guy that brought you Alien, did Exodus. A biblical, I got a lot of problems with what they're showing you in Exodus, because they're chopping off some pretty key points. They like to do that with these biblical movies. I just watched Noah last week at some point, and they seem, Russell Crowe's talking about basically the creation, the 7 days of creation in Genesis. He's saying it to his children while he's on the Noah's Ark, and the world's flooding, going crazy, and he's trying to, he's like, remember these words, on the first day of creation, there was nothing, and then there was, light, and so he's reading, they're going off the Bible's text, but they seem to leave out the one part where I was like, oh, divided, or the firmament divided the waters between the waters. He doesn't say that. They don't like to say that part. It says everything else almost to a T, but not the firmament. And that tells me something. But going back to Ridley Scott and this show Raised by Wolves, that's the main character is an android. Her name's Mother, and it's clearly, the first 20 minutes is clearly an Adam and Eve type story, but she's housing embryos, whether they be man and woman, or human, or however they like to say it, but it's it's a species like us. They're organic biology. They're not androids. But she's housing, I think, I want to say 12, but I could be wrong. But it's probably 12. And only so many embryos survive. But again, it's about genetics. It's all about genetics. The thing that was really what I was trying to figure out the other day was, what is the black goo in Prometheus? And that's exactly what they're saying it is. It's nanotechnology that can rewrite DNA. So any DNA, any organism it comes across, this black goo, it would manipulate the DNA to take what it needs and reconstruct it to be whatever the black goo wants it to be. So it's nanotechnology. They're saying black goo is nanotechnology. Kind of sounds like something that's going on right now, huh? But they're not rewriting DNA. They don't. They're not doing that. They're just showing us that in every freaking thing that they pop through Hollywood. But they're not doing that. They would not do that. But yeah, there's a lot more I wanted to say. Getting into genetics and the Annunaki thing that's been really killing me over the last 5-6 years is like that little cone. They're holding a little cone. If you type up images of the Annunaki, you'll see that they're holding like a cone. People think it's like a pine cone. And there's always a handbag that they have. So you'll very rarely see an image of the pine cone in the hand without the handbag in the other hand. Sometimes there is. There's only like one or two etches or whatever they are of the Annunaki with either the handbag or the pine cone, and not both. But most of the time you'll see the pine cone looking thing, which I should learn not to say pine cone because I don't know what it is. you know, to me, I see genetics. I see them tampering with DNA, and that pine cone looking thing that all the Annunaki are holding is almost identical to what they're showing you in Prometheus when they find, you know, that area in you know, they're in some alien or foreign planet. They find an area with what looks like those you know, eggs from Alien, but you know, they're different looking because it's a different process or stage in their development. But if anyone's seen that movie, the main character David takes one of those containers that is housing some sort of nanotechnology, DNA manipulating seeds. He opens it, and you know, it looks, to me, it looks just like what they're showing you in the Annunaki. It looks like little, you know, cells, or you know, in Prometheus it's the nanotechnology. So is that what the Anunnaki is showing us? Are they showing us introducing some sort of artificial intelligence to manipulate the genetics of whatever's here at that time? You know, if you look into Egyptians, like they're just messing with DNA left and right. You know, they could, there's at least 7 to 9 different species that they're showing you on most of their sketches and etchings, carvings into the walls. You know, anything from alligator headed, you know, and bird headed, and you know, Anubis, dog headed, Toph, looks like a, you know, a crane or whatever, a bird, whatever kind of bird he is. So is that what's going on? Are they manipulating DNA thousands of years ago? And I would say yes. That's so. Then that would bring the question up of how long has our DNA been here for? And you know, there's a lot of things that we have similar DNAs with. So it's kind of troubling to think about, because you know, we can grow organs inside pigs, and fruit flies have similar DNA structure. And there's food that has certain DNA structure that's similar to ours, you know, so I don't know what to think of that. You know, like, I don't think pigs existed at one point. It's pretty clear they didn't. So what did they manipulate with a boar to create a pig? But I don't want to really go there. Whatever. So there is a really great researcher on black goo, and anyone who's already came across him, I think would have learned something from him. Just listen to any of his talks, and you know, he's very intelligent, very humble. Is Harold Klutzvilla. If you just type in black goo and Harold, you'll see him. He describes some of the research he's done with the black goo, and you know, it's hard to say what these guys are really working with or not. And I don't know anything about him personally, so I can only take his word for it. But he says one important thing that I know only you come to after really taking some deep looks into things is that if you're not living through the heart, you're in trouble. The heart pumps out a frequency that can't be manipulated or controlled. This frequency is very easily manipulated and very easily controlled. But the heart frequency, nothing can really get to that as long as you're in it. So anyone that says that has to know something, because you don't just get to that without really taking some deep looks. I really went off to places I didn't think I really would get into, but bottom line is DNA manipulation. How long has that been around for? And quantum physics in the Bible made it into a Hollywood HBO series done by Ridley Scott, the same guy that brought you Exodus and Alien. So I never thought I'd see that in a Hollywood plot. And then that's exactly what Sun Becomes the Sea Channel said years ago, almost 7-8 years ago, that if we understood the reason we don't understand that quantum physics is in the Bible is because it would give us a whole new thought process, and technology would be far advanced from the AC/DC stuff that we're running on nowadays. Even Tesla's stuff couldn't touch what quantum physics could teach us. And anyone that's looked up that D-wave computing, how Google runs off of quantum physics and or quantum computers, and NASA runs off of quantum computers. Anyone that's looked into that and D-wave computing, and with that Gordy guy, I can't remember his last name. If you just type in D-wave talk or D-wave quantum computing, and you'll see the guy. His name's Gordy something. He describes it as they don't even know what the potential is. So Google and NASA are running off of computers that they don't even understand what they can do, which I think they know. I'm pretty sure they do. They just don't want to say it. But that would be what the Sun Becomes the Sea Channel is saying, is if we understood quantum physics the way we should, and if we can decode it the way it's being presented in the Bible, then we would probably have technology that would be far greater than anything we can imagine. So, a lot to think about, but that's all I got for now.